Welcome everybody. This video is for my entrepreneurs, people who want to live and work in the United States through their own business and have no idea how to get a visa to do it. Watch this video and I'm going to walk you through the process and explain to you a possible option that you may have called an E-2 visa. The E-2 visa is a non-immigrant visa. It lets foreign investors come to the United States, open a company, whether it's a startup business, products, services. You can also purchase an existing business. And in exchange, the government will give you a visa so you and your eligible family members can come and live. In order for you to qualify for an E-2 visa, you have to be a national of an E-2 treaty country. There's a long list online. You can look that up. Some of the countries included on this list is Canada, Mexico, Italy, Spain. However, if you were born in Brazil, let's say, but you also have an Italian passport, you can qualify for an E-2 visa. If you get an E-2 visa, your spouse can come to the US as your dependent, and so can your kids who are under 21 years of age and unmarried. All right, so let's talk about the criteria of how to get an E-2 visa. You get an E-2 visa directly through an enterprise that you have invested in or are actively investing in the United States. And people always ask, what is the minimum amount of money that I have to invest in this business? The law doesn't have a minimum requirement. The law just says you have to invest a substantial amount of capital in this business. So what I tell my clients is look at similar businesses and how much money does it take to get them going. Also look at the location of your business. It's a lot more expensive to open a coffee shop in New York City versus to open a coffee shop in a rural town in Kansas, for example. You also have to be seeking to enter the United States to solely manage that enterprise. You cannot come here and work for another employer. As the manager of this enterprise, the United States wants to see that you will be creating a few jobs for US workers. And because you're the manager, you also have to have majority control of this enterprise. This means you own at least 50% of the business and you're able to make the decisions for the business. I've done cases, for example, where my client, who's a foreign national, has bought a portion of a business in the United States and they were able to get an E-2 visa through that partnership. Now, the E-2 visa is a non-immigrant visa. You cannot have immigrant intent. You have to show the US government that you do intend to leave the United States once your business year is complete. I want to talk a little bit more about the amount of money that is needed to get an E-2 visa. You have to show that your investment is not marginal. You have to show that you have committed enough money to make this business successful. The US wants to see that your money is at risk, right? So that you have invested into your merchandise, your products, your location, your marketing. Your company has to be real. It has to be active. You can have a startup business or you can purchase an existing business that is already operational. And for your E-2 visa application, you want to submit a business plan that has your financial projections and explains how you're going to get there. Your business plan should also explain the employees you plan to hire, the services or products that you plan to offer to the United States. The business plan is essential not only for you as an entrepreneur, but also for your E-2 visa application. The business plan is really important. I tell my clients all the time, think about it carefully because you're going to be submitting a new business plan when it's time to renew your E-2. And you can bet that the consular officer is going to compare your old business plan to the new one they'd be submitting in a few years. People always ask me how long the process is going to take. I tell them that it just really depends on where you're living and how long it's going to take the US consular office to get you in for an interview. And if you're outside of the United States, the process of applying may vary slightly depending on which consulate you're applying at. If you're outside of the United States, you have to apply for an E-2 using a DS-160 form. You then submit an electronic document to the consulate abroad where you'll be applying. Once the consulate acknowledges receipt of your application, they'll go ahead and help you schedule the interview. During the interview, you have to be prepared to talk about your business. The officer is going to ask you questions about your qualifications, why you chose that business, why you chose the location of your business. They may ask you questions about your funds, where you got the money to invest in that business, and how you plan to grow that business. So it's important for you to be prepared and be able to explain the benefits that your business will bring to the United States. Now, on the other hand, if you're inside the United States and you're requesting to change your status to E2, you submit an application directly to USCIS. You're not going to get an interview. You are simply going to get a piece of paper that has an approval record. Whether you're filing for an E2 abroad or changing your status in the United States, both cases have their pros and cons. So it's really important to invest in a good immigration attorney that can give you the right guidance and figure out a strategy that suits you and your needs. You're not just investing in your business, you're also investing in your future status here in the United States. So make sure you seek qualified legal representation. By the way, my number is 407-906-0068. My website is ibplaw.com. Get in touch with me. I help investors achieve their immigration goals, and I'd be happy to help you as well.